Hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
We are going live here with ProCare Health and with our special featured guest, Ruby Gary, today. So say hi if you're joining us. We'd love to hear from
Hi.
you.
Hi, I'm Ruby.
Yes, and we're going live on two platforms. So we're going live on our Crowdcast channel and we're going live on Facebook. So,
Hi, Enid. Morning, Nancy. Hi, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. Give everybody a second.
Brenda, I just want you to know that I'm not going to be able to look at the Facebook feed on my phone, too.
That's okay. I got it actually pulled up here. So I got it all ready here. And I'm looking right now at it. It's live. So that's great.
I can see the chat on Crowdcast, so I can read comments and questions right there. I just can't cover Facebook.
Oh, great.
We're having
Perfect.
at my house today. Yay!
It's like one of the it's one of those days today. It's one of those days. Well, you know, guys, we're going to get started here. So today we're talking about it's never too late to live your best life now. Never.
Love that.
Every day is a new day. Every day is a new start. If you're listening here and you need a little inspiration, you're in the right place because we have this special, wonderful, beautiful lady here with us, Ruby, and she's a nurse. She's going to be telling her story, and it's so inspiring. It's just multi-layered. So I'm going to let her get into that here in just a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Brittany and I, we lead these weekly live events, and we also lead monthly support groups, and we do those individually for facilities and also just collectively for groups. And really our main goal, we work with our sponsor, which is ProCare Health. It's a bariatric multivitamin company. And our overall goal is just to help people to stay on track and to do those things daily that help them to, you know, to lead that best life, to be able to, you know, feel like you can do it. Because sometimes just hearing someone else's story or having a little bit of knowledge can go a long ways. And it looks like we have some people just saying hi. I think Brittany introduced a few of them. It looks like Mary, Enid, Nancy, Michelle. Enid says we're blessed, and yes, that is very much the word. And I've heard Ruby say it 100 times, so it's a good little mantra. Brittany, before we start, did you have anything you want to add to that?
Sure. I guess I'll briefly introduce myself for maybe those who might be new on the call. I do see some new here. So for those of you who don't know who I am, Brittany, ProCare for when I first started off, I was doing a lot of marketing stuff with them. I was creating social content. I was, creating e-blasts, that kind of thing. And then I started doing these live events and these support groups with Brenda. So now my role has really changed into more. Before I was behind the scenes. Now I'm, talking to patients, talking to dietitians, and just, really getting to know the bariatric community a lot better. So that has been great. And recently, my newest role is now as an account rep with ProCare Health. So they are sponsoring this live event today. So if during the call you guys have any questions about ProCare Health, please let me know. I think at the end of the call, we'll probably show the website and do that. Right, Brenda?
Yes, and I'm actually right now, if you're on our Crowdcast channel, I am adding our link to our website, and I'll do that on Facebook as well.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'm sorry, I don't know if I can share my screen on the phone. This is the first time I've done Crowdcast, so.
It's kind of, your audio is kind of kicking it a little bit in and out, but maybe it'll get better here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that's pretty much it. So I'll let you do the rest of the talking.
Well, Ruby, why don't we let you kind of talk a little bit about your background and kind of get started from there. She's actually going to be giving us a little bit of a glimpse into her life and what she's doing and what inspired her to have bariatric surgery, what inspired her to make some like really major changes in her life. And it's not just been when she was like really young. It's like even recently she's made some, I'm not saying you're older, I'm just saying you know what? A lot of people, whenever they get to the ages that we are, they start slowing down, and instead you've kind of just catapulted.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brenda. Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Thank you, first of all, for let me just say thank you. I knew my voice was going to get dry. Please excuse me.
That's okay.
I'm a talker, so shut me off.
So we
You
get
have to. But basically, I am a woman of a certain age now that always dreamed of doing something, and unfortunately, it took a long, long road. But all is good, and everything comes together in divine time. I am. Formerly, I worked in nonprofit work, so I've always loved helping people. 22 years in major nonprofits like American Red Cross, Special Olympics, Girl Scouts, and decided that I still didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I decided I wanted to be a nurse. And I packed up my belongings. We left New York, which people always ask me, why did you leave New York to come to St. Louis? But here I am, and I'm glad I came. I became a registered nurse, again, at a certain age, which a lot of people said it wasn't possible. What are you doing? Are you crazy? All those type of things. So what my goal is to speak to people, and especially women, about never giving up. I don't care what your age is. I don't care what you come from. I don't care about your background. And I will share more about that as I talk. But currently right now, I work as a registered nurse in behavioral health. I love it because, again, I love helping people. And because I'm able to put myself in that person's shoes, it's kind of a no-brainer for me, because that's what we're here for, to be of service to others. And that's what I do. And so I decided, like I said, to take this opportunity because I came from, unfortunately, a lot of negative things in my life. I've overcome a lot of issues, domestic violence being one of them, being overweight, being sort of I guess you could say, forgive the pun, but a black sheep of the family, so to speak, because I was always striving for more. And I think that a lot of people have that in them, but allow fear to stop them. And I'm here to tell you that you may be fearful, but do it anyway.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's, like I said, it hasn't been easy. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. However, it is possible. And with the help of therapy, I'm a big proponent of therapy. That made a big difference in my life. And when I decided to pursue the bariatric treatment, because I had tried everything, all of the major weight loss programs, diets, bad diets, whatever it took, I tried it. And unfortunately, wound up gaining up to 347 pounds. So I was a big girl. And because I'm fairly tall, I didn't appear to be as big as I really was. So people couldn't understand, what was the problem. But I guess what I'd say is I ate over my issues. And eating is a way of stuffing your feelings. People choose different modalities to cope with pain, and I chose food. And so I was really, for those of you who are a little bit older, I was looking for Mr. Goodbar, and not so much in a physical way, but obviously in comforting myself with food. And I just felt like I was never enough. I heard early on in life that I didn't matter and that I wasn't important. And, when you're little, you kind of grow up thinking that way. It's unfortunate, but it's something that happens in families all the time. And it's really, you really have to do the work to get to that point where you know that I am more than enough, that I am enough, I am who I am. And that's why I want to share my story, to encourage people that you are enough and you can do whatever it is that you set your mind to. And however I might be able to help people do that, that's why I'm here.
And I just want to kind of add to that too. Ruby is, so she's made it through weight loss surgery. She's made it through abusive relationships. She's made it through the nursing degree, and now her newest venture, which has been kind of a lifelong dream, is motivational speaking. So we are so fortunate to have her here with us. She's done some talks before, but I just want to say that because there may be somebody out there that's looking for a speaker or someone to talk to their community. So listen in and learn and see if her work resonates, because I think it will.
Thank you.
So Ruby, I'm going to let you kind of go ahead and she has some real strong content for you here. So we're going to go ahead and get that going.
Yeah.
Get that started.
Okay. Well, again, I came from a place of very low self-esteem. I was a big girl who felt, I guess I was kind of like always a dreamer, always wanted more, and wasn't sure how to get it. So I was kind of cocooned in this body that I used, I think, unconsciously to keep people away from me because I didn't want to get hurt anymore. And so I found that it was something that protected me. I was a funny girl. I laughed. I had a lot of friends. I was always into fashion, so I always helped my friends, my skinny friends, dress, and just always made myself available to help other people. But deep down inside, I had this really bad lower self-esteem, and I didn't feel good about myself. And I doubted myself and questioned myself constantly. And I just became so fearful of really trying that, again, I just kept, unfortunately, piling on the weight. And after a while, I realized I couldn't go anymore. And I call it my 4 little steps. I was walking from my car, which was parked in front of my house, maybe about 100 feet, got to the 4 steps to go up into my apartment, and I was out of breath. And I stood there and I said a prayer. And I asked God to help me, because that's who I happen to believe in, but to whoever you believe in and whoever you worship or go to for guidance, I ask for help. If I wake up in the morning, I'm calling this doctor and I'm going to reach out to start the bariatric process. And so that's what I did. And it's funny because that's my next part. The actual meeting was scheduled for April Fool's Day, April 1st. So it was a little bit of a joke, and it wasn't a joke anymore.
We had a guest yesterday whose surgery was on a Friday the 13th.
Wow. Okay.
So it's fun that you brought that up.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, my meeting with the doctor, my consultation was with him on April 1st. Mm-hmm. And I just opened up. I felt safe. He was very comfortable, easy to talk to. And that's one of the things I want to give people advice. If you do decide to pursue this type of weight loss journey, it is a journey. It's something that happens over time. It's not an overnight fix. And I really encourage people to get a good therapist, because that is half the battle. Because you use food as a tool to protect yourself and to protect your heart. Because I'm an empath. I love people. I love to take care of people. And that's what I do naturally. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I know a lot of people who are overweight are very similar in that way. But you have to take care of yourself too. So finding people, and they will come. I mean, it's like they say, when you build the baseball field, people will come. And it's true. People will come from different places to help you once they know you want help. And that's what happened to me. I got a very good therapist, and she helped me to prepare for my surgery. After I had my surgery, I continued to work with her and really, really started to dig into the real serious issues that were a problem for me. I unfortunately grew up with a single mom. I have a twin brother and an older sister, and my twin brother lived with my grandmother when we were from 3 months until we were about five. In the South, I was actually born in New York. However, she lived in a household with a abusive man who was an alcoholic, and unfortunately was abusive to all of us. And a lot of trauma occurred in that house. And so, again, I managed to push it down through food and just stayed quiet and tried to stay out of the way. And as I got older, I started to realize that my relationships were with people who were displayed that similar kind of behavior. You're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not worth anything. And I was accepting this for so many years that it just became part of my life, part of my makeup. But there was this little part of me that always said, girl, you more than that. And so I was just like, exactly, you're more than enough, And like I said, I continued with therapy for a long time, and I obviously wound up changing and going to different, working with different people. But I still had that little kernel of belief that I could do more. And that's when I started to really find that it was possible to make changes. And I am a very warm, caring person, so helping people really helped me. And that's what really saved me, helping other people. So in my nonprofit work, I was doing everything I could to help people. And for instance, like American Red Cross, we have people who have fires and different disasters. And so being able to focus on those type of areas, that's what I do. I make things happen. Mm-hmm. And so when I got to my last 10 years of working before I became a registered nurse, I worked for Girl Scouts, so I work with kids. And one of the things I always tried to do was just plant a little seed that you're okay. You are enough just the way you are. And so I decided, I still didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So a good friend of mine suggested, I had another friend who became seriously ill, and I was helping to take care of her. And the friend that I met through her said to me, you make a good nurse. You're smart, you're compassionate. I was like, nurse? Never. I never thought I could do that. And long story short, I decided to pursue it. I do a lot of research on things. I ask a lot of questions. And I decided that, you know what, I might be able to do this. And let me tell you, nursing is not for the faint of heart. It's not for sissies, okay? Like they say, there's no crying in baseball. There's a lot of crying in nursing. So I did it. And it wasn't easy, but I'm a very determined person. And I think that I would tell people to just know that there is another side of you. There's more to you than you think, or more to you than what people have told you. And just don't buy into the hype, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't have more. There's something you have that needs to be brought to the world. And anything I can do to help anybody that wants to reach out to me and talk to me, I'd be more than happy to do that for them.
Do you have an email or something you want to share with them, or
sure,
the best way for them to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me is on my email. It's R as in red, B as in boy, Y as in yellow. My last name, Gary, Gary, @gmail.com.
I'll type that into both our Facebook and our Crowdcast. So if anybody wants to contact Ruby, they can get a hold. And Ruby, I want to say, sometimes we don't realize, like what you were saying about, bringing your own gifts to the world. Sometimes we don't realize that that's exactly what somebody needs in that day. And inspiring one person. I know you and I kind of talked about this. Inspiring one single person can affect the entire world, because that one person has so many connections. If you're affecting a child, you're affecting their parents, you're affecting their grandparents, you're affecting their teachers, you're affecting their friends, and each one of those people.
And in a sense, I feel like it's more, because really, if you're shaping, molding a child, affect all of the people they're going to come in contact with for their whole life.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that's important because that is where, as a child, I learned to be quiet and to not speak out and not say anything when I was harmed. I went through, unfortunately, I'm very transparent. I had, unfortunately, sexual abuse as a child, physical abuse. And so, therefore, I wanted to find a way to make sure these things didn't happen to the children that I took care of. And if I was a fierce defender. I mean, I was a mama bear with those kids. If you left your child with me, I was going to make sure they were going to be okay. So I fought hard for them. I ran up the buses. I went to bus stops and jobs to get permission slips to make sure they could go on trips and, just do all the things that I would have wanted someone to do for me. And not that I had a terrible life, growing up, but there were many parts that were just not I would say that my mom was not aware of that I went through. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I met a gentleman who was very kind and very loving and patient, who actually helped me identify that there was a problem. And once I was able to discover that there was, I did what I could do to like I said, to help myself. Again, I still dated guys who were not very nice to me. You're pretty, but I heard that all the time. You're pretty, but well, you need to lose some weight, or you need to think about going on a diet, or all those things. But people don't understand what's really behind the weight. It's just like nobody wakes up and wants to be a prostitute in life. Nobody wakes up and wants to be almost 400 pounds.
Right.
So there's something there. And if people could find the courage to even just step out a little bit, to speak to people and just ask for help. There's so much help. I mean, like what you guys do with the bariatric, vitamins, and how you help people. And that's important because that's something that you have to get your body adjusted to once you make this decision to do something like bariatric surgery.
Yeah. It looks like Enid had a comment. I just want to make sure that we read it. It says, "Love and kindness are never wasted. The world needs more of that." Yeah.
Oh,
so
thank
true.
you. Definitely.
I'm kind of take a breath here because I think that a lot of the things that you said are truth for a lot of people. With being overweight, there's reasons behind that. And when you were talking about the things that you did for the community as far as children, making sure when kids were in your care, they were protected in the highest way. And what I want to say is a lot of times what we need most for ourselves, we're able to give to other people because we know what it's like to be hurt. We know what it's like to be, maybe it's abuse. We know what it's like to be abandoned or whatever it is. So whatever those things are that we've been hurt from, we know how to help other people. It's sometimes our biggest gift that we can give is to give those things to other people so that they don't have to suffer in some way, the way that we suffered.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, and I think that kind of talks to the people that are listening. Each of you have a gift. Ask yourself, what is it I need the most? Because a lot of times that's part of your gift. Whatever it is that you've been through, that you've struggled through, and that I want to say maybe in some ways overcame. Maybe sometimes you're still even struggling with it, but a lot of times how to help those people in the biggest ways, and being a very caring and giving person. A lot of the people on these calls probably are that because, like you said, Ruby, if you're in the bariatric surgery world, a lot of times that weight is part of what we've taken on for ourselves, for other people, because we don't want other people to hurt. And we are really empathetic people. We understand, we have compassion. And sometimes it's kind of breaking through that. It's okay to help other people, but like Ruby's saying, it's a big thing to be able to also do those things for yourself too. You can't always put yourself last. You can't really. we help other people by putting ourselves first, because what helps us, there was a little voice in my head one day. I was helping a friend, and I realized what I was helping her with wasn't really right for me, and I had to kind of speak out and say something. And whenever I did that, I'm like, you know what? Whatever is right for me is really right for her. It may not seem like it at the time, but if I'm not being my authentic self, I'm not really adding to a benefit. To be yourself, to be authentically yourself can help another person, even if it doesn't seem like it is. Because a lot of times we're a people pleaser and we give in to make peace.
Mm-hmm.
Or avoid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or avoid conflict. Yeah, absolutely. And I did all that, I people pleased. I bent over backwards for, to help and be there for others. And I come to realize, because there is this, like I said, kind of sort of deep core seed that says I'm not enough. I must do more. I overextend myself. I run here, I run there. But over time, I came to realize that if I'm not healthy, if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not strong for me, how can I be there for other people? Working in nursing is the fact that you have to be there for other people for 8 to 12, 14 hours a day. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot. You got your own family, your own issues. And so I really try to balance it out and do things that make me happy, like massages and extra little things. Like, I love to eat still, but I eat as healthy as I possibly can. Not always, it's not perfect, but again, I've learned over the years. I had my surgery in September 29th, 2010. And one of the things they told me was that if I could keep it off for 5 years, I would be more than likely to keep it off for the rest of my life. And I found that that was very true. One of the other things I would say to people, if you're considering bariatric surgery, and I know it's a challenge, but do the exercises from the beginning. That's very important, because your body is so rapidly losing weight. It's really difficult to keep those skin and muscles to tighten up as you go along. So if I could give any advice, that would be my advice. And obviously, if you are extremely obese and have a lot of weight, there may require some surgery to remove some of the extra skin that's left over. Mm-hmm. But it can be done. And I can't even tell you how much it's changed my life. I mean, there was a time, if I was offered an opportunity like this, I probably would have said, no, I don't think I could do it, because I didn't think I had anything to bring to the table. But as time went by, I realized that not only had I helped myself, I was able to help other people.
It's when you were talking about the part about basically, like, when we're looking, like, we're talking about food, and we're talking about having bariatric surgery and what you're losing from, like, let's say food gives you comfort. We're kind of actually talking about that a little bit on the call yesterday with Tabitha, Berry Boss. When you're looking for food as comfort, for example, what things is food fulfilling? Okay, food is filling comfort. Food is maybe helping protect you because you're putting on that weight, and it's kind of helping push people away, or whatever it is. Whatever thing that food is giving you, when after you have bariatric surgery, it's about finding other ways to fulfill those needs. And so, the gifts and talents that you have that you offer the world, sometimes it's about when you're giving out, like maybe inspiration, or giving a helping hand, or giving compassion to somebody. Sometimes it's helping fill those needs. Maybe you're comforting someone else. Instead of using food to comfort yourself, you're using food, you're comforting another person, which is also helping comfort yourself. I know that kind of sounds silly, but when you were saying that, it kind of struck me as like all of these things that you're doing now, Ruby, you're taking a need that you had before, and you're transforming that into being a way of helping yourself, but also helping other people. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I found is, I'll give you an example. I recently had some family issues with one of my relatives, and it's very stressful, a very stressful situation. And I found myself being so hungry, like I wanted to eat like everything I saw, and I was asking myself, why am I feeling this way? But it's a funny thing, I'm not a brain surgeon or have any knowledge of that type of work at all. But I do know that from a psychological and probably also from a physiological point of view, you tend to feel hungry when you feel stressed about something because you want to suppress that feeling. And food is comforting. And, we eat, warm, gooey things and cakes and ice cream and things that make us feel good just in general because you're releasing all these endorphins and all these different things in response to ingesting these types of foods. However, I would always stop and ask myself, why do I feel this way? But I realized it had a lot to do with the stress. So what I did was I went to, as they say, I went to the mountain, and I decided that I was going to go directly to this person and address the issue. Once I did that, my appetite snapped back into its normal way. I wasn't famished. I wasn't, desiring to eat so much because I confronted the issue and I dealt with it. People have so many issues, family and friends, finances, and with this pandemic, it's really thrown people into a very unique situation where we are kind of clustered together, and now it's sort of opening up. But it's still that worry of being out there in the world and hopefully not getting any type of, illness based on just being out. So it's a lot of stress on people right now. And again, I would definitely encourage their programs where you can get free therapy. There are things and opportunities for you to talk to people at colleges who are practicing their craft to be counselors or psychologists. They take people on for very little money. That's how I actually started. I was paying someone like $5 a week to go to therapy to one of the graduate students. And I started that way at one of the universities near my house. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for you, and there's groups. And now that we have Facebook and Instagram and all these things, it's just a plethora of information. And you can do it from the privacy of your own home. Nobody has to see you. You just press a few buttons and you're in there. So again, I would encourage that.
So basically what you're saying too is when you find yourself having certain issues and looking to food, like addressing the underlying issue, the root cause of that can be beneficial in that, because weight loss surgery is not surgery on your brain. It's not surgery on your emotional state. It's surgery on your stomach. And while it's very extremely beneficial because it does help with curbing your appetite, it helps you to eat less because you're going to get sick if you do eat too much. It doesn't always address the real underlying issues of why we're eating.
No.
And that's what I took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's just a part of the process. And the thing about it is I would for people to stop and think, okay, what's really on my mind? Is my mom putting me down again? Is my husband calling me fat? Or you're dieting and someone's bringing in all this stuff that they know you like? Because this also puts a sort of a threat on your family members who may be around you, because they get comfortable with you being the way you are.
Yeah.
And they see the changes that you want to make. And they're like, oh, I know you like apple pie. Oh, they'll bring stuff in that they know that you'll want to eat. So they can kind of sabotage you if you're not too careful, And again, talking about this really makes a difference. It's getting it outside of here, out there. And once you get it out, you'll find that it'll be such a release and such a relief that you have actually expressed it. And a lot of people feel a lot of shame. Unfortunately, sexual abuse gives people shame. And you feel, like I said, not good enough, not smart enough, not whatever, all these things. But if you can just tell one person that this is what's happened to you, or this is is happening, whether it be physical, emotional, or mental abuse, finding a safe place. And I would encourage people to keep things to themselves until they can work it out and figure out how they're going to approach it. I also did, I've done a lot of stuff. I did domestic violence counseling for 8 years in New York. I became a volunteer and advocate, and I would go out on usually Friday and Saturday nights because I work full time during the week, and actually speak to women who had been either physically abused or sexually abused at a what they call SANE Center, which is sexual assault examination. Nurses, they're nurses who do this. At the time, I was not a nurse, but I became so good that they would request me because I really learned how to de-escalate issues. And when people are traumatized, all kind of things happen. I've had people whose parents came to the hospital and wanted to find out who this was and how did it happen to my daughter. And so I learned to be able to put myself in somebody else's place and say, what can I do to help this situation? Because right now the focus is on your child or your daughter or your sister, and get them the help that they need.
And Ruby, really, when you look at that it has probably a lot of like taking all of those little experiences, those make a person who they are. Being able to communicate to other people that you can make it through that can be really beneficial. Because sometimes you don't believe you can make it through it. Brittany and I have talked before about things like whenever you feel like you're as low as things can go, sometimes you just don't see a way out. And sometimes you don't think that things can change. And knowing like deep in your heart that things are temporary and that things you can see a little bit of light to know that can go forward, can make all the difference.
Yeah, it's very true because I remember, again, like I said before, I lived in New York, and a good friend of mine had invited me to a mini concert at one of the clubs in New York, and I decided to go. And the week before that, I was in such a depressed stage that I was trying to think of ways that maybe I could check out and, just get out of the pain, because you're in this constant state of pain. You go to work, you deal with your family, you do all the things that you do, but deep down inside, you're in pain. And I remember thinking that if I could come up with a plan that wouldn't hurt my family so much, that I could just check out and be gone, because I couldn't take it anymore. And I went to this concert. It was a little small club. And after the set was over, we went to their manager's apartment in Manhattan. And she had access to a penthouse, and we went outside, actually on the roof of the building. And it started to snow. And as the snow started to fall against the night lights, I was thinking to myself, what if I had did what I thought about doing last week? I would never experience this wonderful experience. I would never have been there. I would never have been in that moment where I was talking to people who work with, actually, they were the opening group for Prince at the time. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have been there. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying.
That's pretty exciting.
That's pretty exciting. So I had, this opportunity to really experience something that was so beautiful. And it was just like kismet. I mean, it just happened. It just started to snow. And it was so beautiful. And I thought, you know what? I will never, ever, ever think of hurting myself again. God, please help me. And I started doing things and meeting people. And like I said, when the time is right, He will send people. And again, I reach out to your audience. Anybody that's out there that needs help, reach out for me. I'm on Twitter. And I think I'm on Twitter because I'm not that techie, but I'm on Instagram, Twitter.
I love that, Ruby.
I'm
Well,
honest.
we can show that here in a second too. I want to show Ruby's before and after pictures.
Yeah.
But I also want to say too, Ruby, just what you said. And I had a friend that was in a really low place one time too, and I kind of just told her, it's like a pendulum. You swing really far one way, you swing really far another way. You swing really far one way, you swing really far another way. And what happens is, the deeper you go, sometimes into the darkness, I call it the dark soul of the night. Sometimes the deeper you go into that space, the further you're going to catapult forward. Because what it does is it gives you such a strong desire to move to a new space that, so if you're in that deepest, darkest place, just remember that space that's way beyond where you are now is right there waiting for you, because you're being pushed. If you never had something terrible happen to you, you would never want to go to that new space. We get comfortable. We don't want to move. Every day, just you're on a path. So those deepest, darkest places are really the impetus to. So if you're there, know that your next spot is way up and beyond where you've ever been.
Exactly. And being an overweight person, you physically don't feel like, walking and going places. I could never go to a baseball game. I went to my first baseball game here in St. Louis at the Cardinals, and everybody around me knew that I was at my first baseball game because I shared with them how excited I was, and everybody was like rooting me on because I could fit in the seat, I could walk up the bleachers, and I was so excited to see a real live baseball game. So there's so much more out there in life that you're. Just reach out. Just ask for help. There's so much help out there. Believe me, you won't regret it. I'm telling you. Other people might not like it too much, but you will learn to love yourself a lot. and I still deal with that also.
And Ruby Sharon says, "This is giving me goosebumps. You are amazing."
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's real. It's real from my heart. I just feel in my heart this is my calling, and this is what I want to do, because again, I know what it's like to be on the other side. Like I tell my patients a lot of times when they're afraid, I've been in that bed. I have some health issues that I have had to overcome, that I still deal with to a certain degree. But it's the fight inside of you. It's that little burning, little ember of light that just says you can do it. Even if you have a spark, before you have a light, before you have a fire, you have a spark. And that spark's inside of you. You can get there.
I want to show your before and after pictures. Is that okay?
Sure. I'm happy to see.
Okay, bear with me. If I freeze up, I'm actually going to open up another screen so I can see if I'm freezing up. I pray that I'm not going to, because we've had some technical issues.
Cross our fingers.
Okay, cross our fingers. Here we go. I'm going to show Ruby here. Go to my pictures.
Oh, freezing though.
It's not?
No, you're not. You're fine.
No, you're fine. I can hear you. Yep, that's me.
Okay. Is there anything you want to say about this picture, Ruby?
Well, at that time, I probably was at my heaviest weight, like I said, around 340 something. And basically had difficulty walking upstairs, couldn't breathe. And I was this happy-go-lucky person that seemed happy, but inside I was really suffering. So I put on a smile on my face on the outside, but on the inside I remember thinking how heavy I was and how difficult it was for me to, just simply move around and do simple things.
It kind of makes me tearful thinking about it, because it is true. Like we may look happy on the outside, but the inside you're feeling a totally different way.
And now with this picture, I was away with friends. I had gone on one of my first trips out of I wasn't really out of the country. I was in Puerto Rico, but I had actually went, and I was afraid to go because I was thinking how, big I am and I won't be able to go wear a bathing suit and all these type of things. But I always was able to kind of pull myself together, and because I was fairly tall, I'm 5'7", I gave the appearance of not being as big. I knew how to, I always had an eye for being able to pull my clothes together, so I didn't look as heavy as I really was.
And Ruby, you kind of have a point there. Really, even regardless of how big we are, we can always find ways to feel a little bit better about ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You can put that smile on. You can wear specific clothes that make you feel a little better. You can change your posture. You can You can change your mindset. Even if you're in one of those spaces where you don't feel like you are exactly where you want to be, there are ways to feel a little better in the moment.
Yeah. It could be just a purse. It could be a pen. It could be a necklace. It could be something that makes you feel good, And, having that attitude of bring it on. Yeah, I'm a big girl, but you know what? I'm still a woman. I'm still vivacious. I still want life. And, just, kind of in a nice way, stop people from, to continue to abuse people. People abuse big people. I mean, I've had people say things to me like, shouldn't you go on a diet? Don't you want to go on a diet? Don't you want to? I mean, I heard that all my life. She's pretty, but. And obviously, I didn't hear the pretty part. All I heard was the butt
It's the
part.
butt.
Yeah, that's what you hear. And so, again, telling me more and more that I'm not enough. But that's not true.
Sometimes to me, the littlest things make the biggest change in my confidence level. If I'm going somewhere and I really just want to feel a little better about myself, sometimes I know it's kind of an external thing, but sometimes even just do purchasing like a little outfit or something that just kind of gives you a new outlook. And here we have, this is like Ruby, I'm like looking at your style. I love your style.
Thank you. I was always trying to give drama.
You were, you know what? And I'm going to stop sharing there because I'm going to see if I can we might have lost Brittany for a second. I'm going to see if I can go to your Instagram page, but I'm going to try to pull it up before I go there to make sure. To let people see what you look like now, because they can't really see. All they can see is your face, I'm going to see if I can do that because I know I think you have some more recent pictures on your Instagram, don't you?
I don't know if I have any recent pictures because I'm not sure how to put stuff on. The only thing I think I put on was this announcement, so I'm not real sure, but I don't see anything, but I can show them what your Instagram page looks like because you're just kind of starting out here. I can definitely do that. Absolutely.
Here's Ruby's Instagram. So it's RubyGary15. She has 2 posts. She has our announcement for today, but that's going to change because she's going to have all kinds of new stuff on here at some point.
Definitely. That's the goal.
Yeah. So anyways, this is where we are. We're kind of like at our turn of the hour where we're going to be kind of sharing just a little bit. I want to reshare Ruby's email. It's rbygary@gmail.com. It is in the comments on both Facebook and Crowdcast. So if you guys have any desire to reach out to Ruby, if you have an event that you're wanting to have someone talk and just kind of be a little bit of an inspiration to your crowd, she's actually going to be, and I'm just gonna say it, like I'm gonna put it out there like it's happening because I really feel like it will be. There's an event coming up that Ruby and I are going to be working together to get her out there, and it's a women's event that's coming up, and we're excited about it. We're going to be working on that this next week, aren't we, Ruby?
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
To be talking and being out there. I'm gonna
it's a virtual women's conference.
A women's conference, like being able to talk to women out there.
It's going to be virtual, right? Exactly.
So, because Brittany's not on the call, I'm going to do our normal little thing. We're going to talk about our sponsor a little bit. Is that okay?
Great. That's wonderful.
I'm actually going to share my screen once more, and I'm going to kind of watch to make sure I don't go blank. And you guys, ProCare Health is basically here with us because they're a sponsor. They want to try. basically what we've decided is we want to try to bring in little pieces into these live events to try to help you to solve some kind of little problem you may be having. So who out there may be suffering from a little bit of a low energy level? I mean, honestly, I feel like we all, especially right after bariatric surgery, I feel like those fresh post-ops, but even like with all of the things that we're going through, sometimes when our stress levels kind of get up there a little bit, we have problems with energy. And one of those biggest solutions, I know with working at a bariatric surgery program, is finding supplements that help. One of those supplements that can really help with low energy levels is B Complex. So you guys may or may not be able to see me because it's pretty small. I'm going to get big screen here, but we actually have a supplement, B12 Complex. And what I'm going to say is sometimes people don't absorb B12 like they would if in the oral tablet format. So like if you're taking a bariatric surgery vitamin, for example, ProCare Health makes a bariatric multivitamin with 45 milligrams of iron that is a one-a-day product. It actually has B12 in it. It has the amount that your normal body would need, but sometimes people don't absorb it well. If you're one of those people who don't absorb B12 as well as you feel like you should be, and you're having low energy levels, and you're just kind of wanting to test to see if extra B12 or B complex may be helpful, taking it either by a shot, like an injection, which your physician's office can help you with, or taking it under your tongue, which is called sublingual. In this bottle here, I'm going to just kind of I'm going to kind of stop sharing so that you guys can see me full screen. I'm praying I didn't freeze. Did I freeze, Ruby?
No, you're there. I can see
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to go back. Okay. So this is the bottle right here, guys. B12 Complex. It has 1,200 micrograms of B12 in it. And basically what you do is you just take a dropper like this. You lift up your tongue and you put it under your tongue. 2 dropperfuls. I usually like to hold it under my tongue for about count of 30 or 20 or 30 seconds to make sure that it's absorbing, because the reason why sublingual is so helpful when you take medication sublingual is there's lots and lots of tiny little veins down there, and what happens is there's a lot more absorption than if you just swallow it. And Ruby knows this, she's a nurse.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But this also actually has B2, B3, B6, and B5 in it too as well. So just a little helpful tidbit there. Ruby, is there anything? Yes. Is there anything? Oh, and I want to add our website, because for some of you who are not familiar, I'm going to show you that real quick. So ProCare Health website, and I'm going to pop on to, it's www.procarenow.com, which will bring you here. If you click onto the little ProCare logo, it'll be the main website. To find the B12 complex, it is under vitamins and minerals. And here it is right here. It's $13.49. Actually, mine usually lasts me longer than a month. But here it is, $13.49 for, if you do auto ship, it's $14.99 for a one-time purchase. If you guys have never tried ProCare products before, we do have a little button here at the top that says free sample. And you can click on that, and you can fill out a very short form, which will give you a free sample. No shipping, no nothing, just a free sample. But kind of peruse over there. Look and see what's offered under the bariatric multivitamins. We're known, ProCare Health is known for being one of the very least expensive bariatric multivitamins on the market. And easy to take, like one a day. Most of our multivitamins are one a day. There's a couple of them that are twice a day, our probiotic formula, and I believe maybe our prenatal formula. We actually just came out with one other new product. It is our multi-soft chews. They're absolutely delicious. So that's another little alternative. Depending on which surgery you have, if you've had if you've had the lap band or you've not had surgery, it's 1 a day. If you've had the sleeve gastrectomy, it's 2 a day. If you've had the gastric bypass, it's 3 a day. If you've had the SADI procedure or the duodenal switch, it's 4 a day. So I'll just kind of stop sharing. The link for all this is, I believe I shared it earlier, but it's procarenow.com. So check it out.
Yeah. And can I?
Yeah.
Can I just say that is extremely important, because one of the things that what happens when you do have bariatric surgery is you lose the ability to absorb nutrients, and that vitamin B12 and all those vitamins are extremely important to maintain. So you take them for the rest of your life. But it's a really simple, easy use. Like you said, they taste great. And I've tried them myself, and I love them. So I'm telling you, it's something that you need to do, and it's worth it.
And Ruby, I'm going to be sending you a little email afterwards, because I want to send you a free little something gift so expect an email from me today. And is there anything you'd like to say before we close out, before we say bye to everyone?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak to people. I hope I've touched someone, or I hope I've touched everyone to believe in themselves and to not give up. Being overweight is a very challenging lifestyle, a way to live. It's not easy, but it's not the end, is what I'd say. It's just the beginning. There are doctors and nurses and therapists and people like yourself who provide what you need to live a very functional, normal life. And I'm telling you, until it happens, a lot of people are afraid to do bariatric surgery or any type of surgery because they think they'll never be able to eat the way they ate before. And it's like sort of going through a loss, like almost like a death. Like, will I be able to do those things? And in time, you will. Believe me, I enjoy a lot of foods that I never thought I'd be able to. Sometimes it does change and you don't have the same taste for something. But overall, if you take your vitamins, take care of your health, go to your appointments, stay with therapy, you will do great. That's what I would say.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruby, for that. That's a great closing thought. I'm also going to say, if anybody is interested in continuing to listen to these kind of broadcasts, like with what we had today with Ruby, join our Crowdcast following. I'm going to put the link on here on both Facebook and Crowdcast here, because and if anybody wants to come back and listen to the replay, all of these are available if you didn't get to catch the whole thing and you want to watch the replay. Here we go. It's a great way to be able to kind of absorb the information, because there's a lot here that we said today. And Ruby, there's another comment too. I'm going to read here real quick. It's not pasting for some reason. I'm just going to paste it. There we go. Ramona says, fantastic, Ruby. Nancy says, thank you, Ruby. I can understand you. Thank you. And all keep in on track. And Kathy from Facebook says, so enjoyed today. Ruby is so inspiring. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So it's just affirmation that you need to keep going, Ruby. Affirmation.
I'm humbled.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm pasting our Crowdcast channel for anybody who wants to follow us or come back and listen to the replay. So love you all. Ruby, expect to hear from me today sometime. And thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And I'm saying bye for Brittany, too, because I know she would want to say bye.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.